Good morning, students. Welcome back to our practical session for the subject DMD. In the last lecture, we have seen the design steps for bevel gear. So today we are going to learn something about and design steps about worm gear. So how to design worm gear, how to find the dimensions, important dimensions for a given particular task or given particular problem. Basically, the worm gear are used to transmit the power between two non-intersecting shafts which are at right angle to each other. It consists of a worm. Worm is just like a screw. Uh, it consists of a worm and a worm wheel. A wheel, like a gear, the big gear is called as wheel. That is basically a tooth wheel, which is also called as gear. We know all that. And worm is basically form of screw. As we know, the screw is having a single start screw, double start screw. Like that, the worm is also single started, single start, double start, triple start, or quadruple start. The power is transmitted by engaging the tooth of worm with worm wheel. The worm and worm wheel both are having the tooth. Generally, the worm is always a driving one. Worm is driving one, and tooth wheel, that is also called as gear, which is a driven one. Power is always transmitted from worm to worm wheel. Uh, Now, the main advantage of that particular worm gear is velocity ratio. The velocity ratio up to 300 means up to 300 means from 300 rpm to 1 rpm. We can convert that particular speed ratio in a just one stage of the gear. Gear means that is worm gear. So this is not possible even in precision spur gear or bevel gear or helical gear. This is the biggest advantage of that particular worm wheel is a high velocity ratio can be transmitted in a single stage. So one of the advantages this is very compact in design, as we can transmit that particular power, that particular velocity ratio in a single stage. So number of stages required in other gear is reduced. That's why the compact in dimension for the same speed reduction. Smooth and silent in operation. This is and the also one of the advantages provision can be made for self locking, which may be desirable in case of crane or hoist. That means it can rotate in one direction only. On another direction, it will get automatically locked, which is also called as self locking. So it is one directional movement of the worm and worm gear. So as it has some advantages, it also have some drawbacks also. The efficiency of that worm wheel comparative with other gears are also low. That means the efficiency of we know the efficiency of spur gear is about 98 to 99%, but in case of worm gear, the efficiency is reduced, somewhat reduced, that is up to 75 to 85%, and the manufacturing cost is also required is high as compared to other gear. So it used to convert high velocity ratio. So heat is generated, basically heat is generated in this particular worm gear is more as compared to other gear. So it is required to built in lubrication, and so it also required a special material to manufacturing the this particular gear. Uh, and another limitation is power. Power not more than 100 kilowatt power can be transmitted in a single pair. So this is theoretical aspects of worm gear. So let us move towards the design aspects and start the design steps. Let me share my screen with you. I hope it is visible to you all. 1 minute. Uh, sorry. Yes. So it's fine now. So design of worm gear. Directly right hand side, you can see a PPT, and in the left hand side you have a PDF of our design data book by Professor Professor Shivalkar. So to start with the worm gear, we must know the forces acting on the particular worm gear. There are some of forces which are common in spur gear and other gears with worm gear, like tangential force, which is also called as tooth load, or FT. It is denoted by in earlier cases. Axial force or thrust load. This is one force which is or which is addition to other two loads, which is the axial force on worm tends to move the worm axially. I just show you a figure. See here, one axial force WA. That WA is axial force. Is perpendicular to the radial load, but what it causes? It causes to move the worm in axial direction. So one more force is there other than what we called earlier, that radial load and tooth load. It is axial force is one of the load which is at here. So the axial force on the worm tends to move the worm axially, includes an axial load on the bearing, and tends to worm in a vertical plane with bending moment of magnitude WA into diameter of worm by 2. And radial load and tangential load we already have discussed in earlier chapters. So directly come to the design steps in worm gear drive. So for designing the worm gear drive, you must have some data. You must have to gather some data from the data book. For that, simultaneously, I have on your screen left hand side is showing a PDF of data book. So step number 1. Very first step, we have to assume some data here, as we don't know how to collect that particular, how to know the number of teeth on the worm. So first of all, select the number of teeth on worm. Okay, that is number of teeth on worm is denoted by TW. T and suffix is W. That W stands for worm. In the table on the page number 174, sorry. Oh, it's 177. Table number XV16. Okay. On this page, you will find number of teeth on worm, TW, which is based on that TW, which value of TW is to be assumed. It is based on the speed of the worm and required speed of the gear. That is the basic ratio of that speed of worm to the speed of gear is also called as velocity ratio. So depending on the velocity ratio, you must have to find the proper number of teeth on worm. Let us say example, if I have to convert 1000 RPM, 1000 RPM to 50 RPM, that means 1000 divided by 50 is 20. So I want to go for a velocity ratio of 20. Now using that velocity ratio, see on page number 176, table number XVI, serial number 1. You find this table. Just I am highlighting it. See, a number of teeth on worm, TW. That is depend on the velocity ratio. If in the very next example, I already told you that our velocity ratio is 20. Now 20 comes between the range 12 to 36. See here. From 12 to 36, 20 is in between 12 to 36. Now value of TW is 2. So I must have to select the number of teeth on worm is 2 in this case. Accordingly, you have to select the TW according with the help of velocity ratio. Now once you select the teeth on worm, that is TW. Next step is choose proper lead angle and normal pressure angle. So you already learned in the theory class what do you mean by lead angle, and pressure angle is very important as gear point of view. So in the very next page of very next point of the data book, see in the left side lead angle. Lead angle. So I am highlighting it. So lead angle is 6 degree per tooth. 6 degree per tooth means what? We have selected the TW as 2 for 50 velocity, for 20 velocity ratio. If we have the TW equal to 2, so lead angle is 6 degree into number of tooth. That is, TW is 2 and our 6 degree is constant. That 6 degree into 2 is 12 degree. So in our case, 12 degree is our lead angle. At the same time, you have to select the pressure angle also, that is denoted by phi. Normal pressure angle, that is phi, suffix is n for normal. So on serial number 5 in the same data book, you will find in the same page the angle pressure angle phi n. Okay, for the same value of lambda, that is lead angle, if up to 12 is what? Phi n, that is normal pressure angle is what? 14.5. So it must be selected with the help of lead angle. Lead angle is selected with the help of TW, that is tooth on worm. Accordingly, second step is over. Now moving forward, step number 3, assume the module of worm gear teeth as M and calculate DP and VP in the form of M. So in the as we learned in the last gear, here one change is there. Here we know the gear is circular and worm is cylindrical. So before that I just want to show you the assembly drawing for this particular. See, in this figure, the upper portion is called as worm and the wheel is tooth wheel, that is also called as gear. Likewise, in this particular portion, there are two pitch. One pitch is on the worm, which is axial pitch, because it moves the gear, moves horizontally. That's why it has axial pitch. Axial pitch means the pitch parallel to the direction of axis of the worm. That is called as axial pitch. And in wheel, there is a one pitch called as circular pitch. Circular pitch means distance between two successive teeth on a circumference of a wheel. Okay, so we must know that circular pitch. Basically, to calculate the circular pitch, that is the successive distance between two successive tooth, which can be calculated by perimeter of the circle, that is pi d, divided by number of teeth formed on that particular wheel or tooth, wheel or gear. So it is again calculated as we discussed in theory lecture also. Module is basically a PC upon pi, that is circular pitch upon pi. I already derived you in a theory class that how module comes PC upon pi. So it is not possible in this particular steps, but I already told you in the theory class that we have to implement it here. So PC is module is equal to PC upon pi. PC is what? Circular pitch. So DP is also DP is basically what? DP is in DP and VP, both are in the form of PC by pi, that is in the form of module, because module equal to PC upon pi. So we must know the DP in the form of PC by pi or VP in the form of PC by pi. Now moving towards next step, calculate the design power PD and tooth load. For design power, we should always follow the same steps as rated power into load factor. Load factor we have to select from the driving mechanism and driven mechanism. So using that KL load factor and rated power, we can easily calculate the design power. So according to as per the formula for tooth load, which is mentioned in the table on the page number 175, see, that is tooth load FT is equal to, I am highlighting it, PD upon VP. So as we discussed earlier, PD is in the form of PC upon pi, and VP is also in the form of PC upon pi. So obviously the FT is in the form of PC by pi, which is equal to module. So the value of FT is in the form of PC by pi. Now we just want to give the equation number 1 to that particular FT, and moving forward, we have to calculate the beam strength. Now, what is beam strength? See, in the next point of that particular equation, particular page of data book, we have one formula, that is beam strength by Levy's equation. We already calculated beam strength by Levy's equation in spur gear, in helical gear, and in bevel gear also. Here also the same formula is written. We have to calculate various parameter of that particular formula from various tables. Likewise, first see in this formula F equal to SO into CV into B into Y into M. So what is SO, what is CV, what is B, what is Y, what is M? All things are written here only. See, this is basic strength. SO is what? Basic strength of from table number XVY10. By selecting a proper material, we as learned earlier, or as we have already calculated in the previous design steps, how you calculate SO. We have to select the material. From that material, we can calculate the basic strength of that particular material. Next is CV. CV is what? Velocity factor. That velocity factor is calculated with the help of CV equal to 6 upon 6 plus VP. Now, that VP we already have calculated, which is in the form of PC by pi. Likewise, here also CV is in the form of PC by pi. Now moving forward, next value is Y. Y is what? Levy's constant. How it is calculated? The formula is written on the data book. 0.34 plus 0.05151 into bracket normal pressure angle minus 14.5. Now, normal pressure angle we already calculated in the step number 1, step number 2. It is calculated as 14.5. So, by doing the calculation, Y will be calculated. So, accordingly, all terms are calculated, and FB is in the form of PC by pi. Why? Because CV is in the form of PC by pi. B. What is B? B is width. How it is calculated? For calculating the width, you must have to go to page number 179, I think. Yes, 179. 178. See. So, B, the value of B. See here, on the for gear, the value of B face width, mm. I just want 1 minute. See here, face width. The calculation for face width is written on the page number 178, sorry. So here 2.38, two columns are there for single and double threads, for triple and quadruple threads. According to our given data in a numerical or university problem, you can have the data that whether you are going to design a single start thread, double start thread, or triple or quadruple, like that. If you have to calculate it with the double start thread, then you must go with 2.38 PC plus 6.25. That means B, that is width of the face width of the gear, is also in the form of PC. One thing you must remember while designing the worm and worm gear, here you must have to remember that you are going to design the gear only, because because as compared with worm, gear is weaker. So you must design, or you must go for the weaker, design a weaker element, so that your design must be safe for stronger element or stronger worm. So what the value we are assuming here or taking here, all for the wheels, not for the worms. After calculating the PC or module, we can have the values of worm also. So one thing you remember, for calculating the beam strength using Levy's equation, you must have to assume all the data related with the wheel. Okay. Now moving forward, step number 7, calculate modifies Levy's factor. It is also already done. Assume trial value of CV, that is coefficient of velocity factor. Now calculate the beam strength as per table. You already have all the values. Now you have to calculate the beam strength according to the equation. Excuse me. Now, step number 11, calculate pitch diameter of worm. That pitch diameter is nothing but the DW, which can be calculated from the page number 178, as we calculated the width of the face width of the tooth. Once you calculate the FB in terms of PC, and you already have calculated the previous tooth load in the form of PC. Now you have to make the condition that FT should not be above the beam strength. That is, tooth load should not be exceed the beam strength of the gear. If it exceed, the gear tooth of the gear may bend or may fails. So for maximum condition, foot tooth load, that is FT, must be equal to beam strength, not above that. So by equating the FT with FB, you can have the value of PC. Once you get the value of PC, 80% problem gets solved. And once you got PC, that means you have your module, because module equal to PC upon pi. So once you get the module, you can have all the values related with the worm and worm gear. If you see on the page number 178, all the values, see, normal pressure angle, pitch diameter of worm, everything will be calculated with the help of PC. That PC you got from equating the FB with FT. Accordingly, the whatever asked in the problem, you can calculate from these two tables. Sometimes you also ask to calculate the dynamic load. Sometimes you may ask to calculate the wear load. All are discussed in the worm and worm gear also. All procedure is same. One change is here to calculate the efficiency. As I already told you in the introductory session of this particular worm wheel, the efficiency of this particular gear is somewhat less. So to calculate the efficiency, you have one formula here on page number 175, serial number 5, efficiency of worm gear. See, I'm just highlighting here. So cos theta minus mu into tan lambda. Lambda is what? Lead angle. You already calculate. Now what? Tan theta is equal to tan phi into cos lambda. You have to calculate the theta. You have to calculate the mu, coefficient of friction. Coefficient of friction is depending on the rubbing velocity. What is the rubbing velocity? See, if you calculate the VP, you must have to convert that VP into meter per minute. What is what that particular value, rubbing velocity, or that particular value of VP must be converted into meter per minute, and the range of that particular values. See here, the mouse is not working properly. Yes. See, coefficient of friction, rubbing velocity VR, that is nothing but your VP, what you calculated. If not, you have to you must have to convert that Vp in the meter per minute. For low speed, that is below, if Vr is below 2 meter per minute, then you must have coefficient of friction as 0.15. For medium speed, that is from 10 to 170 meter per minute, it is 0.135 upon rubbing velocity. So accordingly, you have to calculate that particular coefficient of friction. After that, after coefficient of friction, there is one more term. Q is what? Heat generated. Now, in this way, you can calculate the efficiency of worm gear. After calculating the efficiency, the university problem may ask you to solve or may ask you to calculate the heat generated during the power transmission. Now, heat generated during the power transmission or heat dissipated during the power transmission is calculated by given equations on page number 178 from serial number 6. On serial number 6, you can find out Q, that is heat generated. How it is calculated? Q equal to 1 minus efficiency. Now what the efficiency you got in a previous equation, that efficiency you have to take here and calculate the Q, that is heat generated. Similarly, heat dissipated can also be calculated. The formula is given below. Now you must have to equate that heat generated and heat dissipated, from which you will get the delta T, that is temperature difference. Once you get the temperature difference, that temperature difference should not be more than 70 degree. If it is goes above 70 degree, you must have to write there that particular gear needs the external cooling, or external cooling is required, or lubrication is required, so that particular temperature difference above 70 degree must be minimized to work that particular bevel gear efficiently or effectively. So in that way, we calculate the heat generated or heat dissipated or delta T also. These are all steps related with the worm gear. We already learned in the theory class also, and in the practical, it is concluded that any problem, any university problem, or any problem related to worm gear can be solved with the help of these steps which we have discussed here. Hope you understand the problem. Hope you understand the design steps, and you can calculate any of the worm gear problem with the help of these steps. Thank you, friends, for your patience listening. Thank you very much.